Hello everybody, this is Sean here. Today I'm going to do an October wrap up. So, just started this first one at the tail end of September, but I wanted to include it. It is Gone Baby Gone by Dennis Lehane, which is his fourth book starring the private investigators Patrick Kenzie and Angie Gennaro. I would recommend reading the other books first, just because there are events in the previous books that are referenced in Gone Baby Gone, and each one kind of builds on them. First one, I'd say, it's pretty dark, and then the second one, pretty darn dark. Third one, actually kind of light, fun little adventure. And then Gone Baby Gone it's pretty rough. It's about child abduction. It's not a happy topic. It's a good book though. Next up, we have The Way of Kings. So I ended up really liking Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and it actually is, I've said this, technically a reread for me. I read it way back in the day when it first came out, and I'm glad I reread it because I think things resonated with me more this time. Well, definitely I think things resonated with me more. Because I remember reading it the first time, I was like, oh, Kaladin, and he's the main character, if you don't know. This time I enjoyed, well, enjoy is not the right word, but I think his struggle meant more to me. I just liked it a whole lot. I'm looking forward to reading Words of Radiance. I actually never, continued the series back in the day. Next up, I have a manga that's being released in the US for the first time ever, I think, pretty recently. I'm probably going to say it wrong because I don't know how you say it, but it's Beastars. That's what I'm going with. Basically, it is what everyone says. It's basically Zootopia, but maybe a little darker. Anthropomorphic animals, there's herbivores, there's carnivores, and they all live in harmony, hopefully. Our story centers around this high school, where specifically a high school drama club, where an herbivore is eaten. That obviously causes a lot of disruption. All of the carnivore kids, the herbivores are scared of them now, and they look at him weird. The main character is named Legoshi, and he is a gray wolf. He's a big dude, and he's kind of a softie. He's just a quiet guy. He works on like the sets of the drama club, and he doesn't want to eat anybody, but people definitely think things about him. Definitely like some class issues sort of within even just the herbivores. Two different kinds of rabbits, but one rabbit thinks they're like better than the others because it's endangered. Stuff like that. It's fun, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. Next up, read the 5th perfect edition of 20th Century Boys. You probably heard me talk about 20th Century Boys if you watched the manga recommendations I put up recently. I feel like we were about the midway point of the story, so it kind of slowed down a little bit. Not that it was bad, but for me, it's kind of slower than the other volumes. Looking forward to the next one, but not my favorite of the series. I don't really want to say too much because it's midway, so if I talked about it, that'd be spoiling the first 4 of the perfect edition. Next up, Child 44. This is a book by Tom Rob Smith, and it's gotten quite a bit of critical acclaim. On the front, it has this little banner. It says, Time Magazine's 100 Best Thrillers of All Time. I gotta say, I didn't end up really liking this one. And it's kind of weird because I had to talk myself down. I really wanted to like it. Like at first I was like 5 stars. And then I thought about it, I was like, no, 4 stars. And then I was like, that seems high, 3 stars. So I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, if you care. And really what kind of, well, first I should give a synopsis. So Child 44 takes place in, I think it was 1953, somewhere in there, in the Soviet Union, where supposedly, there's no crime. People live in fear of the secret police. Citizens turn on their neighbors at the drop of a hat. Any sort of talking about the state in a negative way is punishable by death, that sort of thing. So not a great place to be alive. Place and time to be alive. Our main character is a member of the secret police, basically, and he's told to basically tell this family that their child wasn't murdered. He got hit by a train. Things happen. But as you obviously find out there's more to the story. And I liked all that stuff. It was really good. I actually think it could have been a lot longer. A lot of story was crammed into about 400 pages. So I think it could have been longer. And then for me, the ending was not, I'll just be honest, it's what kind of knocked it down. Those 2 stars for me. Don't let me dissuade you. It was still a good book. And like I said, it's like critically acclaimed. A lot of people like this book. So this is just my one man's opinion, but for me the ending was not the best. Next up, I have the first 5 volumes, another manga of Dead Demons, Destruction. This is another one that I think it was in my manga recommendations list. It's by Inio Asano, the same writer and artist who did Goodnight Poon Poon, Nijigahara Holograph, Solanin, that type of stuff. With this one, we follow some high school girls basically preparing for college entrance exams. So they're freaking out about that, obviously. But there's also like an alien spacecraft just hovering over Tokyo, and they can't shoot it down because then it would land on Tokyo. And the spacecraft occasionally sends out little flying saucers. They don't really do any damage necessarily, but they're out there. There are invaders among them. These girls just go about their lives. I mean, they don't really have another option. They go to school, they do their homework, they play video games, just do their thing. But there's also aliens. Definitely delves into kind of deeper things. It's also really funny. I should also highlight that. Some of the funniest stuff I've read recently has been from that manga, which is good. I think it could use it. The lightness is good because it actually delves into some heavier topics. So I'd highly recommend it. It's super fun, but also makes you think. Lastly, I have Down the River Unto the Sea by Walter Mosley. Really enjoyed this one. Basically a policeman, and this kind of all shown in flashback, but a policeman is framed for something he didn't do. Goes to prison, and when he comes out, he's trying to solve like his own case, who framed him, and then at the same time he's also trying to solve this other case because he becomes a private investigator. I really liked it. I mean, it's kind of funny. I read some other reviews of it and it's like, oh, it's so dark and gritty, and to me it wasn't necessarily. There's some characters that were introduced that I thought were kind of fun, and I hope there's a sequel. But I thought it was super fun. Probably definitely lighter in tone to me than Gone Baby Gone. It is a fun little mystery. The ending surprised me a lot. Neither of the plot lines went where I thought it was going to go. One thing that I did, if I had to criticize one thing, apparently all women are attracted to our main character, Joe King Oliver. Like there's like 3 or 4 different women who are all just like, oh, he's so handsome. It is from his perspective, so maybe just, I don't know, like he just thinks he's awesome. But that aside, it was fun. I really liked it. I think that does it. Let me know if you've read any of these. That's it. I'm just gonna stop talking. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you whenever I'm back.